in a deep voice, from a standing position. "We have some hard stuff, if you'd rather," Joan said to Rebecca. From Richard's viewpoint, the remark, like those advertisements, which from varying angles read differently, contained the quite legible declaration that this time he would have to mix the old fashions. "The sherry sounds fine," Rebecca said. She enunciated her words distinctly, but in a faint, thin voice that disclaimed for them any consequences. "I think, too," Joan said. "Good." Richard took from the mantel the $8 bottle of Tio Pepe that the second man on the Spanish sherry account had stolen for him. So all could share in the drama of it. He uncorked the bottle in the living room. He posingly poured out 3 glasses, half full, passed them around, and leaned against the mantel. The Maples had never had a mantel before. Swirling the liquid, as the agency's wine expert had told him to do, thus liberating the esters and ethers, until his wife said, as she always did, it being the standard toast in her parents' home, "Cheers, dears." Rebecca continued the story of her first apartment. Jacques had never worked. Georgine never held a job more than 3 weeks. The 3 of them contributed to a kitty, to which all enjoyed equal access. Rebecca had a separate bedroom. Jacques and Georgine sometimes worked on television scripts. They pinned the bulk of their hopes onto a serial titled The IBI, I for intergalactic or interplanetary or something, in space and time. One of their friends was a young communist who never washed, and always had money because his father owned half of the West Side. During the day, when the 2 girls were off working, Jacques flirted with a young Swede upstairs, who kept dropping her mop onto the tiny balcony outside their window. "A real bombardier," Rebecca said. When Rebecca moved into a single apartment for herself and was all settled and happy, Georgine and Jacques offered to bring a mattress and sleep on her floor. Rebecca felt that the time had come for her to put her foot down. She said no. Later, Jacques married a girl other than Georgine. "Cashews, anybody?" Richard said. He had bought a can at the corner delicatessen, expressly for this visit, though if Rebecca had not been coming, he would have bought something else there, on some other excuse, just for the pleasure of buying his first thing at the store where, in the coming years, he would purchase so much and become so familiar. "No, thank you," Rebecca said. Richard was so far from expecting refusal that out of momentum he pressed them on her again, exclaiming, "Please, they're so good for you." She took 2 and bit 1 in half. He offered the dish, a silver porringer given to the Maples as a wedding present, to his wife, who took a greedy handful of cashews and looked so pale and mottled that he asked, "How do you feel?" Not so much forgetting the presence of their guest as parading his concern, quite genuine at that, before her. "Fine," Joan said edgily, and perhaps she did. Though the Maples told some stories, how they had lived in a log cabin in a YMCA camp for their first 3 months of their married life, how Bitsy Flanner, a mutual friend, was the only girl enrolled in Bentham Divinity School, how Richard's advertising work brought him into glancing contact with Yogi Berra, who was just as funny as the papers said, they did not regard themselves, that is, each other, as raconteurs, and Rebecca's slight voice dominated the talk. She had a gift for odd things. Her rich uncle lived in a metal house, furnished with auditorium chairs. He was terribly afraid of fire. Right before the Depression, he had built an enormous boat to take himself and some friends to Polynesia. All his friends lost their money in the crash. He did not. He made money.